Labour Party activist and a member of National Collective, which is Artists and Creatives for Independence. There's now 2,200 members of National Collective across Scotland, and we're imagining a better Scotland. For National Collective, we're really thinking about what is the opportunity of this, and really engaging people through music and creativity and poetry and positive energy, and it's a really exciting time to be a creative in Scotland. And I know that Alan will probably touch on this as well. And for me as a young person, all of a sudden there's people actually getting engaged in democracy in a way like I've never experienced or seen before. And we have activists actually going to communities like Tamfourhill, like where I'm from a wee village called Falkirk, just outside near Stirling. So I'm from Falkirk, from a family of miners on both sides, and really it's from my cultural heritage that brings me here into this campaign as a campaigner for social justice, because I've experienced injustice like many of us in Scotland have. Today, I don't know if everybody knows, but it is May Day today, which is International Workers' Day, and I think that that's a day that I'd like to resolve to acknowledge, because I am from a family of miners, and the miners haven't been supported by Westminster, and we continue to see many workers and industries basically decimised and left behind in terms of in our current culture and system. In Britain, we are the second lowest paid workers in the developed world. The lowest paid in the whole of Europe, which is why we have people queuing up to go to food banks to be fed. We are one of the wealthiest countries, yet we are one of the most unequal, the fourth most unequal. And this is not a country that I want to be part of, that any of us want to be part of. And I do want to see a Britain that's going to be transformed, not just for the people in Scotland, but for everyone in Britain. I'm actually English. My dad was born in England, in Sunderland, and he was a miner there. And people often say to me, but you know, an argument for being better together is that, what about the working class and the rest of Britain? For me, this is the only chance that we've got to truly transform Britain for everyone. Not just for the people of Scotland, but for everyone across all of the states in Britain. I am not a nationalist, I'm an internationalist. I see myself as a global citizen, and I campaign on big world issues, on democracy, on equality, on social justice, on human rights, and on peace. And it's from that stance that brings me to a yes vote in the referendum, because I don't believe that a yes vote is only going to be good for the people of Scotland. I believe that a yes vote is actually a gift to the world, and I'm going to explain why. Now, in terms of democracy in Scotland, I don't know if people know, but at the moment in Scotland, we are the least democratic country in the EU in terms of local democracy. So what does that mean? It means that for every one councillor in other EU states and other countries, for every one councillor, you maybe have, in Austria, we have 200 people represented by one councillor. In Germany, it's 400 people by one councillor. In Italy, it's 600 people represented by one councillor. In the UK, it's 2,500, I think, 2,860 to one councillor. In Scotland, for every one councillor, we have 4,270 people represented. We are the least democratic country in terms of local democracy. Now, this leads to loads of other problems. That's a problem in itself, because it means that we have fewer people, we have lack of representation, few people standing for electoral representation. We have the lowest voter turnout, also in Europe, averaging about 40%. So we have a lack of political engagement. Now, all of this, what it means is that marginalised groups are less likely to have voice and to get involved. So less people from different ethnic minorities, less young people, and importantly, less women. Now, as a young woman, gender issues are very important to me, and it's great to see some women and some young women along at this meeting tonight. Many meetings that I go along to. I think I've been along to one meeting that's managed to be gender balanced, but usually, for some reason, there's much more men in the room than women. And there's also, it's great to have myself on the panel tonight, but it's not gender balanced. And that's just kind of the state of play in terms of where we are in politics in our country. In Scotland, we are doing far better than in Westminster. Westminster at the moment, fact for you, which always seems to blow people's minds, there are more millionaires right now in the cabinet in Westminster than there are women. An actual fact. More millionaires than women running our country right now. I do not want to be part of that. We have a chance to move beyond. In Scotland, we have 40% of our elected representatives are women. Oh, sorry, about 40% of our cabinet, and in UK government it's 13%. So we know that we're already better at gender balanced representation in Scotland. So I have great faith that a yes vote will only improve the condition and representation for women in this country. Now, in terms of that, in terms of equality, what are we seeing? We're seeing that also Westminster is not really bothering about public services in terms of health, education. The services that are important to us in Scotland, also to people in the rest of the UK, but unfortunately those policies aren't getting pushed through. Now, those jobs are often jobs, again, held by women, which means that women, again, economically are at more of a disadvantage than men in our economy. If we can work to protect the services that are important to us, public services in Scotland, which again I have faith that a yes vote will enable us to do, then that is going to improve conditions for families and for children and for young people in our country. A big issue for me, a very important issue in terms of voting yes, one that maybe supersedes all the others, I'm not quite sure, is a vote for peace. Michael's already mentioned it in terms of nuclear weapons. Was it May? I was along at Fastlane, the nuclear war base where our warheads are kept. I was there campaigning for peace. I was part of a blockade. All I really did was just sit on the road. I did get arrested, and I got arrested for breach of the peace. I know. And I had to laugh as well, and I think the quote that I gave for the papers was, I think nuclear weapons is a bigger breach of our peace. It's quite ironic, really, but okay, me sitting on a road is a grave danger to our peace. So that's how important this issue is to me. And we know right now that there is a commitment by both Labour and Conservative governments in Westminster for a Trident renewal which will cost all of us, taxpayers' money, £100 billion. Now that is money that at the moment we're feeding our people through food banks. When people don't have access to the education and to the services that they need. This money could be invested in the people of Scotland to create a fairer, more equal society that works for us all, not just for the 1%, which currently is who is working for. And we've had a commitment by the Scottish Government that we will be free from nuclear weapons in Scotland by 2020 with a yes vote. And that is a commitment that I do believe will be stuck to. And we have not only the opportunity to remove nuclear weapons from Scottish soil, but it creates huge problems for the warmongers in the rest of the UK because there's nowhere really else to put them. So actually, in terms of our gift to the world by voting yes to the peace movement globally are watching and waiting for the Scottish people to vote, to make a vote for peace, not just for ourselves, but to the global stage. And that's really what I see Scotland as. This is our opportunity to stand up and show ourselves as a peaceful nation who can be a beacon for social justice, equality and for peace for ourselves, for the rest of the UK, but for the rest of the world as well. So I would ask you to not just think about what a yes vote can do for Scotland, but let's think about what a yes vote can do for the rest of the world. Thank you.